Today, we're going to spend the day with Marvin Lickness, a drone operator, as he takes us on a day in the life of a drone operator. We're also going to go to a drone meetup group and talk to several other drone operators who share with us how they got started, what sorts of things they're doing with drones on a day-to-day basis, and where they think this technology is going to take us in the future. My name's Jason Steele. Join me as we move one frame forward into the future of drones.
My name is Marvin Lickness. I've been playing with drones for about 10 years, but it's mostly been the smaller, like toy drones, like the little ones you can fly in your house and chase your cat, chase your dog, right? Over the last couple of years, I've been getting into the bigger drones and doing a little bit more aerial cinematography. Well, it's 6:30 in the morning, and I'm off for a fun day of droning and filming.
It's Cody Hollis Purdue. YouTube is probably the easiest place to find me, and that's my channel name is EDOC, which is EEDOK. I used to play cards competitively, but when the pandemic happened, like all those things became like non-existent. So I needed something else to do, and then that's where I learned of it's a certain class of drone called a tiny whoop, and they're a drone that's small enough to be flown indoors. And so I just kind of got hooked on those, just flying those in my basement. And yeah, they're like just super tiny. They have a hilarious amount of torque. Like they just go, and because they're so light, you can crash them into walls and stuff, and it takes thousands of crashes before you break anything.
I'm a mechanic as a background, so I used to do all smash-up derbies, and that's how I got into when I got a drone. That was the first thing I filmed, was a smash-up derby, and then I got hooked. I got hooked on the cars, and I used to use traditional drones, so that's when I got FPV drones to be able to get closer to the cars.
My name is Alex Tainovsky. The first drone I bought was in 2017. And it was a DJI Mavic Pro. I always had, I guess, kind of an interest in filmmaking, just taping stuff. And then, at the time when drones were first starting to become commercialized, it just looked like just a ton of fun.
Hi again. Well, we just got to the first site that I'm doing, and it's about 7:35. Now it's time to start on the paperwork and make sure that it's good to fly. Hey, paperwork is done. Now I'm scoping out the site. I took a look around. I already know what my project's looking like. I've been here at this location before, so it's actually not that bad. It's a beautiful river valley area. There is a walking path that I have to be concerned about. All that's on my paperwork, and we're gonna get set up. This is my my first drone setup. A lot of stuff packed in this little package. And this is pretty much my biggest workhorse. And as you can see in my case, if anything happens to it, I have a backup. Now, I'll probably go into other things that I do prior to even coming here. Make sure your batteries are charged. Make sure that your weather is going to be good even before you get on the road. Make sure your tablet is good. Make sure your SDs are blank and ready to go. I like to have the second one ready in case the first one cuts out, because what I'm doing is I'm doing very quick captures, and if something happens to my drone, well, I don't have time to go looking for it while they're demoing a house. So if all else fails and something actually happens, which it hasn't, knock on wood, I can get up filming right away, capture what's going on, and dealing with picking up the drone that is maybe sitting on a bank somewhere a little bit later. I also have what's called an ND filter. This one's a polarized filter. All of a sudden, my My lighting is way off. DJI does really good at compensating for most of that. But in case there's something a little bit off, a little bit too bright, ND filter is always good. Now on the controllers themselves, you could just put in a small phone into this section and run it off that, but I find that to be a little bit hard for me to see. Maybe it's my age. This is just basically a small $10 item you can get off the eBay that'll actually extend. And you can get a little bit bigger size. Lawn chairs are always good at these things too. You never know when you're actually going to be getting up and going or sitting down and waiting forever. Got my cell phone, which is actually tethered to my display, so it'll actually be able to run different scripts. I can set up scripts in a program called Drone Link, and what it will do is it'll actually map out the exact same route every few times, or as many times as I want. I can take photos at every location. I can take video as it's going along. I also brought this out because paperwork is all finished and ready to go. Every flight should be logged. If there's ever an incident, again, knock on wood, I haven't had one yet, but if there's any incident, it's good to have it on paper soon after it happens. That way, if Transport Canada ever gets a hold of you and says, we heard you were flying this drone and this is what happened, you can say, well, this is what happened. You have drone logs that stay in your tablet, or you can be retrieved online. And you also have all your filming on your SD card that will prove your case, whether or not what happened or what didn't happen. Another thing that's really nice about these small drones is it's kind of neat to get onlookers and asking what's going on for different things, but at least this way it doesn't make a whole lot of noise and you don't get too much of attention, and people aren't going to be bugging you too much while you're actually flying the drone. Very important to turn on your controller first, get your app set up. On mine it's actually set up so as soon as I turn on the controller, while it's connected to the tablet, my program will automatically open. Then I go and I turn on your drone. See the twitches, you'll see the camera do its little adjustment. With my programming on this drone, I've set up actually a position that I launch it from every time. That just helps the drone communicate with the GPS. It'll launch. It'll do a little bit of a hover while I check the motors, blades, everything else while it's in flight as well. And this pad will basically be its takeoff point. What that does is not only does it give it a visual reference when it takes off, so the sensors underneath will actually hover and look at it, but it'll also stop getting like rocks or sand or a little bit of dew and grass from getting into your motors. So now that that's set up, we get into our flight. We'll do a little hover, a little closer to the camera. We'll make sure that the motors and everything are turning properly and nice and clean, and then we'll go for our first flight of the day. Now we have it hovering in place, and I'm double checking everything. My battery is good, my signal to my phone is good. I'm getting 24 satellites right now, which is really good. It'll fly. I wouldn't really try it for under 9 satellites, especially if I'm doing something that's right at my edge of sight to where I'm seeing it. But right now, it looks good. I'm going to turn on my recording. So now I'm actually recording the camera setup, which you didn't see earlier because, of course, well, I wasn't rolling earlier. So now we We got all that set up. Got myself set up. Let's go take a look around this area, and I'll show you what I'm filming. Now this is going to be a boring part because you're just looking at me. I like the shades so I can see the screen a little bit more. But I have another program called Drone Link, which I'm going to open. And with that, I actually have a program that will go over the river, just right at my edge of sight. Probably better with other people with better eyesight can go a little bit further, but I like to stay within line of sight. That is the law in Canada, especially for my level of licensing. And now it's done its run. Now it's just coming back to its home position. Okay, so now we've landed. That's our first visual of the day. Now we'll go on to the second one, which is actually getting an establishing shot of the house that's going to be demoed. This was usually normally like a starter drone, right? Low grade camera, no tilt, very little stabilization, cheaper motors, that type of thing. They wear out, you throw them out, right? That's the way it was. A lot of guys around here are using some pretty interesting drones that I'm still getting into the market for, and they're getting smaller, cameras are getting better, the ease of flight is getting better, the setup is getting better. I'm pretty good at soldering, but I haven't done too many builds myself, so I'm mostly a buy and fly. So this is the whole area I want to get into, to learn, to get the action. Using the goggles it encompasses you in the world. You just become one with the drone as you're flying it around. The whole world just disappears when you're doing it.
Yeah, so FPV stands for first person view, and it just means that you're wearing some type of goggle that is feeding you a video image from your drone directly to your eyes. So it just makes it easy to be more precise in terms of flying it, rather than holding like a cell phone or an iPad screen in front of you. So it definitely feels like maybe like a airplane simulator game on a computer. It's very similar to that. So if anybody who's played arcade games or flying games on their computer, it'll feel fairly similar. So
when you have the goggles on, you're viewing what the pilot sees. Like it's really a neat experience. But yeah, unlike VR, it's real life. So yeah, there's that whole aspect to it, which I think, I don't know, as a pilot, it raises the stakes a bit, because like in a game, you crash, whatever, you restart. Real life, you crash, you gotta go pick up your remains and go do some repairs.
Hey, checking in again, just letting you know how my day is going. The day's been going really good. Went through almost 3 batteries. They haven't got the front facing down yet, but we're shut down for an hour. So I'm gonna charge up some batteries on the go, and we'll be back here in about an hour.
So you always have tons of batteries when you fly these drones. So that's the small one.
It's not even just those drones either.
I know, it's all, then you got bigger ones, and it just never ends. You have batteries charging all the time. So I only got 6 today for this, and I'm not going to be charging because it takes forever to charge. So yeah, this is the drone life. You're charging constantly.
Yeah.
Every job I'm at, my car is running all the time, charging everything. And you get a director saying, "Oh, we need this down." You're like, "Just give me 5 minutes."
I like that one that you can actually charge off your battery too at the same time, right? So you can do two at a time and off the batteries.
So yeah, this is.
It's all about keeping them up just before you go. Okay, well, I've been gone for about 20 minutes. I wasn't going to take the whole hour because you never know when they're going to get started again. So, went and made a drop-off and a pickup. All set to get filming. I'll have everything set up here in the next 15 minutes again. And we'll be ready to go. And then we'll just wait for their go-ahead and then we're flying again.
Transitioning from flying like a basic DJI drone and flying an FPV drone, I picked that up. That was my COVID hobby, I guess. It was summer of 2020. That's when I first got into it, and that was just from watching a bunch of stuff on YouTube. Just seeing it and wanting to be a part of it and trying it for myself. So always had an interest in aviation as well. So the two kind of came together.
Do you ever get motion sick wearing the goggles? Or no?
At first you do, because you're trying to lean with it, and you look funny because you're like leaning with it, right? So you got the goggles down, and people don't know, so you're learning, and then people looking at you weird because you're like twisting your head. The more you turn your drone, the more you turn your head. YouTube is my teacher.
Oh, okay.
Everything I learned was on YouTube. And plus some of these guys, we're all part of a Discord, so whenever you have issues, send a message, "Hey, I can't get this to work," and somebody somewhere figures it out.
Oh, okay.
I can't pick anything.
I think
channel one.
Oh, is he not on channel 1? Oh God, I can't see.
He's supposed to be on 8.
Oh, that's because you can't view on 8 because that's a public channel.
Okay,
So he's got to change to any channel other than 8, and then he can get on there.
Okay.
So like go to channel 7 or something. I played the FPV simulators, and I joined a race series on one of the simulators, and I actually ended up doing really good on the series in the simulator. So a bunch of the guys that run events in the States invited me to come to an event called Wooptopia in the US, and it was crazy. It was 84 pilots came to it from like all over, and they said it was like the fastest pilots that for like the tiny whoop class, and it was just a huge race, and it was amazing. I think community is actually the thing right now. It's like I think events like this are needed, and we just need, because it is right now it is not, I'd say, consumer level ready for people to get into it easily. But if you have a community to help you get into it, it smooths things out so much more. So I think right now the biggest challenge is just getting communities together that are willing to help everyone out and get everyone flying.
Okay, well, it is 2:30, just about. That first job took a while, but they did an awesome job. They didn't damage any houses on the way. They had 2 brand new ones on both sides, so really hard to get through. Took about 5 hours worth of filming. So 20-minute spots. The film itself is probably going to be somewhere around 2 hours worth of film to go through. But we'll go on from there. I have been charging up batteries as the day goes through. I only have 4 batteries, and they only last about 30 minutes a piece, so that kind of gives me an idea of how I'm doing for battery wise. I have one that's been recharged completely, so we're going to go on to another site from a demo from yesterday, and we're just going to go do a quick cleanup shot on that one. And I got a car charger, so I just in between spots, so I can stop, fly.
What's fun about this one is that you can go FPV, and when you go to land, you just hit a button and then.
I haven't even put it in full acro though.
Oh really?
No, I gotta get to learn the acro on the smaller ones,
and then
we'll see. Yeah.
So the practice goes.
Yeah. Put a lot of time in on the goggles.
That's what I did. I got this one. It's all beat up now, and then just. You can bash it, it bounces off everything and doesn't break anything.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Oh, you already smashed it good.
Oh yeah. This thing has been, I was filming a truck coming around with a trailer, and I was going in between the trailers, and I hit the trailer, it fell through onto the ground, and the tire was coming for it, and I did the turtle mode, flipped out of the way of the tire, and then I couldn't fly away, but at least I saved it.
There's something called turtle mode on a lot of these drones that if it lands and it actually flops over, it'll actually spin the propellers at a different speed and it'll actually flip over. So lots of times when you land it out, especially the smaller ones that don't have the GPS or anything like that, if you have the flip over mode and it's able to flip over, then you can flip it up and then head back home and you don't have to go for a hike up the sloop.
So there's a thing about FPV drones that you spend more time fixing than flying, because you always gotta fix things. Because whenever you fly, you try to push yourself and push your luck, and so I can do this, and you crash, and then you gotta spend hours fixing it. Most of the FPV stuff you see is open source, so you can plug it to a computer and reprogram it completely. So for this one, I put a GPS on that one, and I programmed it that if it, and then I wasn't good at it, so when it worked, I was pretty happy. Programmed it so if I lose signal, instead of it crashing, it actually goes up in altitude until it connects again. I'm making a second one, and I'm gonna make it so you can actually flick a switch, and it will come back on its own and land on its own.
All right, buddy, you should be seeing signal any second now. Okay, 4 spinning. Yeah, 4 spinning. Here we go.
There's no way I'm gonna track that.
Let's just go right for the big one. Loop the crowd. Full throw, full throw. Someone just turn on, please. I got.
What does full snow mean? You don't have a signal?
No signal.
But what happened is I'm pretty sure while I was in the air, I heard the guy next to me plug in. And his channel overrode, his signal strength overrode mine. So suddenly I saw a picture of myself and then snow. Well, my day's done. That fully broke. My cage finally broke. She's dead. I can't get another one of these pieces. So. Ah! I got cannons on.
Oh, no way. Oh, because you plugged in?
Yeah, because I plugged in.
Oh, no way.
So this thing's dead. My day's over.
Oh, that's nice.
And I don't have kind words for you guys. So.
Oh, I didn't even know he plugged in before you.
Yeah, he did. I heard it go off. So I'm out.
Alright guys, before you plug in, just make sure the one is in the air because he crashed because the DJI guy is plugged in.
Not just crashed.
Or just wrecked it.
He's dead. Yeah. Well, go figure it's the DJI guy wrecked people, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's what we gotta be careful with the DJI stuff.
So what does it mean when a DJI is plugged in?
So what happened is DJI puts out a lot more power on the signals than the analog, and the analog is very finicky, so it kills.
We put the turtles on the sticks so we don't get people blown out of the air.
I think we'll have to separate all the the DJI guys and the analog guys to not plug in.
Yeah.
I think we have to find just a small system of when people are in the air,
Yeah.
we don't plug in.
Well, that's again, you do with the posts.
Yeah. We can try it. Do you have anything that would work for them?
No, well, we just have to go to the craft store to do it, right?
I guess, yeah. We might have to. We'd have to do that just because, I don't know, that guy wasn't very happy. I don't blame him.
Yeah, no, especially with his, like, this is like, he's had that one for like 5 years. And
yeah, he was telling us all the things it survived, right?
Yeah,
that's
no,
awesome.
he survived at rodeo even, and that's
what he
I
told
never have anything survive at rodeo.
I know, and then of course the first back flew in the air, and then the other drone went next to it, and boom, that was it.
Hey, well, it is 2:45, and I'm on my second job site. This is one that I filmed yesterday, and it was a nice, quick takedown of a small house. Now I'm just going to pop the drone up. I've already mapped out a flight plan for it. And it's going to go up. It's going to take a little bit of a video on a curve as it focuses on the one spot that it was actually, the work was being done on. And it just shows the cleanup of the site. Okay, so I did a screenshot of that one, or screen video shot. So hopefully you can see that quick little flight that I did. Now I'm ready to finish packing up the last of my drones. I'll keep the batteries charging as I'm heading home. I got a little bit of a break, and then I'm going to meet about filming a concert area. Now concert areas get kind of fun because you still have to follow the rules of the air. Now with a drone I can't fly within about 5 meters of anybody that's not involved in the filming process. So I'll have to be able to stay over top of trees and film from a distance, that type of thing. So I'm going to be going out there later on tonight. It's 3 o'clock now. I'll be home by about 4:30. And then it'll be just about time to head back out for that one. So hopefully I'll have some batteries charged up for that. It seems to be an ongoing thing, you know, to keep batteries charged for these drones, especially when you're working a hard drone day.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you can fly in the house. So, have you talked to, where do you go, Cody?
Cody?
Cody. Where do you go? Yeah, so that guy actually does championships in the US for those things.
What?
He does championships in the US for those ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's got little gates for them. He does like in his basement. He's got a whole racetrack set up.
The tiny whoops themselves are like, they get to like 30 kilometers an hour maybe. Like they're not super fast. But yeah, when it comes to like bigger FPV drones, like I have like one they call like an open class 5-inch one that can go over 160 kilometers an hour very quickly. And this is I'm going to be racing this next week in Indiana, and they call this one a tiny trainer because, like, well, I guess you can kind of see over there. That's an open class size. This one they call it like a micro because it's only uses 3-inch props. And the one race we're doing is a spec race, so everybody racing is going to be on the same frame, the same motors, the same propellers. So nobody should have a big advantage when racing because it's all spec. I don't fly to get footage. I know a lot of people do that. Like a lot of people come from this as like, I want to take good videos, I want to take whatever. I like when you fly FPV, it's kind of like riding a motorcycle. Like you get that adrenaline rush, and that's what I chase. So if I do get footage, it's secondary. It's not what I focus on. It's just that because I put a camera on and recorded what I was doing, that's why I have footage. I think this is a new sport that's gonna become like probably like similar to like MotoGP or maybe like F1, because it is like it's that style of racing, but these crafts move so quickly and with like such accuracy that you can do crazy tracks. And like even like the one I said, like when I went to Arizona, one of the races we did was just in a bar, and we just literally made a track around the bar, like through the pool tables and the tables. And it's just a riot to like, not only to fly, but also to watch afterwards, because yeah, it's, I don't know, it's like, I can't even put it to words what it is. It's magical. I think as more people like know about it, I think more sponsors should be open to making more locations available to race at. And that could make for some very visually pleasing races as well. And the one thing I think is like, I think right now the issue is right now it's kind of hard. If you're not into it, it's kind of hard to track where the drones are going because they are that fast. So I think in the future, actually, it's going to slow down a bit, and they're going to make them light up a lot more and make them a lot easier to follow. Yeah, well, they're going to do something to make it easier for people that are not into it to follow it. Well, there's right now the top two leagues are DRL is the Drone Racing League, which is a spec league in the U.S. where they just travel for different places. The most recent one there was in Las Vegas. They did racing on the Strip. The other big one is DCL, which is in Europe. And yeah, I think their last one was at LAX, which I don't know how to say it properly, but it's in Switzerland, and it's a ski resort. And they did a race through like the chairlifts and the lake and up and down the mountain. So that's what exists now. But again, like both those things are like, I think this is like the very infancy, like almost no one knows about it. And yeah, it's one of those exciting things to watch.
So it is about 10 to 4. I just got home. I got enough time to run in and print off some more business cards because I went through a slew of those today. Great benefit of doing a drone shot right by a walkway around very nice houses is you get a lot of referrals. So I'm hoping that I get a little bit from those as well. And then I got a 45-minute drive for my next job. It's going to be for a meeting that they're doing, like a folk festival with 4 days of music and 60 some odd artists. It's going to be exciting to do that. It's not happening until July, but we're doing the initial setup, and I'm going to be doing some droning so that they can actually get some pictures of where they're putting things and maybe even use that for advertising. Okay, well, it is now 4:12 of my busy day. Got my business cards all printed off. And also, too, while I stopped off at home, I found a nice package on my doorstep. It's actually something I ordered in from DJI. Nothing too special, but for me, it's kind of nice. Guess what it is? It's a battery. I need more batteries. It's also a little piece of foam for my FPV as well. So we should be all set. I think right now I'm close to 2 batteries charged for my Mini, and my battery for my FPV is all charged. And if I really have to, I do have a Pavo 360 that it's got its batteries ready. So I should have plenty of stuff to finish off this last call.
A friend of mine does car drifting, and yeah, he was just saying that he wants to basically make a cool video of his car. So I got out with the first drone, that Mavic, the one that is kind of more stable. It's not as maneuverable as an FPV drone would be. Yeah, we just went out to some dirt road in the middle of nowhere, and I followed him around. But very quickly I realized that it's hard to follow something. It's hard to chase something with one of those types of drones. And I knew that I had to transition to the FPV side of things.
So we're gonna chase each other with the FPV drone, see if we can record each other's drones in the air, and then it's kind of cool. We don't get it's the first year out of COVID, so it's the first time we actually get together and get to fly drones together. So we're pretty excited. So you're gonna see lots of smiles today on faces and mostly happy people.
By my car, like behind it.
I see you. Oh wow. Yeah, I gotta slow down here. I just passed you.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just following the edge of the trees.
Okay, I think I see you. Yeah, I see you. Just got swoop.
Gonna pop up.
Yeah, I see you.
Come back along the
building?
Yeah, like the lane, basically the parking lot.
Okay. Oh wow, my video feed is dropping a bit. Okay, well, I think I passed you. Are you going up again?
Yeah, I had to come back a little bit, yes.
Yeah, mine is freaking channel is reading nothing.
Okay. Do you need to adjust?
Yeah, I might have to adjust the angle on the camera.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm coming into land.
In town, there's a local company called Spec D Drifting. So they're the #1 organization in Western Canada for the sport of drift or automobile drifting, right? And it was the fall of 2020 where they had their first Stratotech Bash event, where basically a bunch of people from all over Western Canada come down. It's not so much as a competition, but more of a, I guess, a community event for all the local drifters, and I got the chance to basically fly a drone and do some filming at that event. It was only 3 weeks after I had started flying FPV, so I was terrified. But yeah, it was a great experience, and from that moment I was hooked. And I've been just trying to kind of do more gigs and do more of that since then. Yeah, I've had a few more videos with that Spec D drifting. Yeah. People are pushing the boundaries of what's technically possible as far as filming. Even in recent times, I don't know if it was last winter or 2 winters ago, there was an event out in BC called Natural Selection. It was a snowboarding competition, but they're using natural terrain. I believe it was at Revelstoke Resort. So one of the most famous FPV pilots, Gab 707, did a lot of work in terms of building specific equipment for that event. He had basically from scratch, he had to design a brand new gimbal. It was a two-man team that he was flying with. He'd be flying the drone while somebody else was operating the gimbal. So right now it's individuals kind of pushing the envelope. They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible, rather than the industry being driven by the corporate giants, so to speak. They're in the game. They're a big part of it for sure, but yeah, like the hobbyists are the guys who are, I guess, coming up with new stuff.
I do pretty much anything, like real estate. We did a movie shoot last year that was really cool. Okay. A music video, and the guy was throwing money from the roof of a building in Edmonton. Okay. So we had to fly a small drone through it in slow-mo. That was really cool. But there's lots of different jobs. For example, there's one where we're done where you fly through a factory, and because all automated, you can't really get a guy with a camera to actually film it. So we flew the small FPV drone through all of the different mechanical parts, and it had different moving arms, robotic arms that would cut different I don't know, that's what you call it. I don't know what they're actually doing now. I was afraid to film it, but...
Have you ever seen the video that's like, you filmed the inside of like a bowling alley?
Yes, I've seen it. That was viral. That was really cool. So that's what we do. And so, yeah. And then so we did, it was I think a hot dog factory that we actually filmed, and we had to fly through it's all automated, right? So we flew through and then show the different items and the different, I guess, areas they want to show. And the different jobs, I was surprised how many jobs were done like this. Another one was a welding shop that would make some kind of steel rods, but everything's automated. Machines move all the steel, machines weld it, and so you can't really walk in there with the camera. And so I fly different drones around it to film and all this. And so it's very challenging on that.
My day job is a software developer, and I did have a contract automating inventory for a vehicle rental company where they had the barcodes on the front of their vehicles, and we just programmed a Mavic to go to the parking lot, turn, take a picture, move to the next field, take a picture, and then using image recognition find the barcodes, and yeah, made a job that was very it's like not a very exciting job for a person to do into one that now a drone does.
And but no, so what you can do with these kind of cameras is what a lot of people do, they put, instead of 4 motors, they put an extra set of 4 underneath it with an extra set of props underneath it, so you get way more thrust. And now you can fly an FPV drone, but instead of having a GoPro, you get a very decent camera and do professional work. So an example is the movie that came out, Ambulance. I think we'll go check it out. The drone footage in there is mostly FPV drone, and it was done exactly with that setup. And the kid was 19 that did it. One of the top pilots, and he's from Vancouver, so I'm promoting that. I'm like, oh, Canadians. Yeah.
What I do know is, like, because of the capability, just the raw speed and agility of these things, you get like basically like video game cameras for real life, because the amount that you can get in close and chase fast moving things while having like 6 degrees of freedom to move around whatever you're filming.
You set the standard when they hire you. They're like, we want this shot, and you tell them straight up, that is going to be this long. So for example, when I get hired to do like car stuff, I tell them, okay, if you get the car on the track, I get 5 minutes max, so you have to get the driver to do whatever he has to do as soon as the takeoff. Okay. So to give an example, we were filming motorbikes, and one of them was going to finish the lap by going on one tire and doing a wheelie. Really cool, but didn't tell anybody. So I had to like fly the first time, find the guy, run out of battery, finding him, land, but I knew who he was then, so now I take off again. So you get all this extra But that's why you just got to set the expectation.
They're using drones in wars. They're thinking of using drones for deliveries. They're already doing short hops between buildings right now in different places. The interesting thing about drones is to be able to get a drone into a place where it's hazardous for a human being to be in. I mean, that's, to me, is the biggest advantages that are just blowing up, just getting to the point where people are putting drones through pipelines, right? Or up on heights where it's hard to get ladders on, that type of thing. Or just places that are dangerous, or let's say your neighbor is getting a little bit old. He doesn't want to get up on a ladder. You don't want to get up on the ladder. You can send a drone up. Everybody's safe. He knows what's going on, right? I think over the last 10 years, it's gone from something that lifts off the ground and floats around to something that is now a tool. And it's going into all different areas of business. And I think that'll just be getting further. Like it's mind-blowing what simple drones were 10 years ago to where they are now, to where they're going to be in the future. I mean, delivering organs for hospitals. I mean, they're already doing that. Forest firefighters have been using these quite a bit. There's a lot of enterprise drones that can cover long areas, stay in flight longer, be up in all different types of weather. And they're saving lives. They're finding people with infrared, right? They know they can pick out hot spots where other people wouldn't be seeing them. The technology is just beginning.
Yeah, I think it's hard to predict where drones are going to go and how, as a society we'll use them in the future. I know recently they're becoming quite big in agriculture, for example. So rather than using like a crop duster plane, you can purchase a fairly sizable drone, but it'll be something that'll replace a full airplane or like an entire machine. And you can do a whole field in a fraction of the time at a fraction of the cost, as far as I understand anyways. They're also for agriculture, they're used, I know Martin uses it for, you can actually measure essentially the moisture content of your soil, right? That's one application that we've seen come up in the last few years. So as far as different industries go, yeah, like I said, it's hard to predict. It's really going to be limited by people's imagination and regulations. That's another aspect of it that in the past or currently is potentially limiting to the development of the technology, but that's coming along as well, where the laws that we started out with, some of them are becoming a little bit more, relaxed and reasonable, or useful, I guess, or practical.
Well, I think they're going to be sized up to the point where they can hold people and cargo, because they are a super stable way to travel that is not limited to the ground, that can get in and out of small places, and they have amazing agility. So I think that's where, like, in 50 years it will go. I think we're going to start seeing more beyond line of sight things where they use cell phone networks to communicate with the drones, so we can send them much further than what we've been able to up till now. And because, these new connections are 5G, they can carry a video signal with very little latency, so you can, travel, go to places that are hard to get to otherwise. The batteries available, say even like 10 years ago versus now, it's like unrecognizable. Like, the batteries of today are so much smaller, pack so much more energy in a smaller space, so that you can even put more cells in and have more power output and have longer run times as well. So I think as more things move to, I think electric cars are actually what's pushing this the most. And so as those batteries improve, everything's going to improve with them.
Yeah, I mean, as cliche as it is, the sky's no longer the limit, I guess.
Oh, looks like I'm a little bit on the early side. which is fine. Turns out we're actually looking at, it's like a 28-minute trip instead of a 45. That's pretty good. That's going to be nice later when I'm coming in from home to do quick filming here and there.
All right, so I'm going to try flying one of these bad boys. I don't know how this is going to go, but it should be very interesting. I hope I don't crash it because I feel like that's going to be very expensive. So Alex has been kind enough to be the one to let me try one of his.
So Jason, put this lanyard on you.
Okay.
I was just gonna hold up the radio for you.
Okay.
Here, let's do this too for your first flight.
Oh, because I'm going to like be like, whoa.
It's gonna be like playing Nintendo for the first time.
Yeah, probably. Okay. I'll lower the camera down.
We'll see if we can get you just to maybe take off a little bit.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna do line of sight first.
I just so he can get a little more.
Oh, there we go. We're coming up.
There you go. Okay, now let it down because.
Whoa, not that fast.
A little bit down. Yeah. Going like this.
Slow down. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. That was awful. Oh.
He's got to put goggles on. No, try with goggles. It's a lot easier.
Oh, my gosh. I just bounced like crazy there.
Yeah, well, that's because what's happening is you have your moment of inertia, right? Yeah. Because the object at rest want to stay at rest.
Yeah.
So you have to give it a lot to get over that, and then you kind of got to drop it down to hover, right?
Okay.
Once you get over, because that's the bottom is where it does most of the work.
All right.
And then you also have a thing called ground effects, because the area that you're pushing down is coming back to you, so you're not getting as much air through. So as you go higher, you'll have more fresh, clean air, and it'll be easier.
Okay. All right.
He's talking hydrodynamics.
All right. Hydrodynamics.
I take off my goggles. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I'm on the ground.
So you should be able to see in front of you.
Wow.
Oh, are you wearing the goggles?
Yep.
Nice.
All right.
Okay, Jason, I'm gonna grab your lanyard.
Perfect.
And I attached the radio, so it's just hanging there.
It says it's low power mode. Does that mean it's actually going to be?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
it's not running. Oh, okay. I see.
Oh, sweet. Let's go check out the fire.
So as soon as you your left index is under the switch currently. So if you flick that towards you, that'll turn on the drone.
So they give you a brand new one. It's funny because I sat there for like an hour because they needed sunlight more than it was what I was saying. They were trying to plug
Get off the ground, buddy.
You got to lean forward a bit. Okay, let down on the throttle because you're going to the moon a bit.
Oh yeah.
Okay, up a little more. There you go.
Oh boy. I'm just bouncing. Am I? Oh my gosh.
There you go. You're like, gotta keep.
Oh, I gotta let it down. Let it down.
Give it a bit of throttle because you're falling way forward. A little less.
A little less.
That's awesome. Up again. Yeah. Like just kind of catch it fall. There we go.
Okay, now we're doing all right.
Don't delightful, guys. Sorry. It's only a
side so I can keep it in view.
Oh,
anybody gone over there to check it out? Yeah, I just put my phone on.
I don't know. Just hit it.
Are we done?
I don't have my GoPro.
Yeah, we gotta grab
it lost.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna play with you.
You gotta go rescue it now?
Yeah, we'll go find it.
Okay, now it's rescue time. Okay.
How did it look through the goggles?
Well, that was really interesting. Wow. I am terrible at this. Oh, it just bounced like miles up there. Holy smokes.
This part is why we're usually trying to get people to practice on the simulator first.
Yeah. Woo! Wow. So after crashing my first drone, I am out helping with the hunt. Oh, perfect. Recovery. Is it alive?
Oh, yeah.
It's good. It's solid.
Unfarmed.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right on.
I'm glad.
So tell us, what do you think?
So that was kind of cool. I've never flown those before. It was terrifying in the sense of like, oh, I do a little bit and it just goes way up there. Like it's not, like how do you like, because you're like, I watched you guys doing as you guys were chasing each other, right? And you're like just feathering the controls just a little bit.
Tiny movements,
yeah, and you guys have got really used to those tiny movements, and here I am. I'm just like,
It's practice.
vroom, vroom. like
Wait,
over
so
and over.
amazing, right? You put the goggles on, you can see. It's like
So cool. Yeah, it feels like I'm just flying. I'm just flying in the
literally.
okay, yeah.
You're sitting in a chair flying. Like it's like virtual reality, but with the real world.
Yeah, exactly. It was really neat. So yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the risk on me with your drone.
That's brave, by the way, just so you know.
That's very brave.
He's being humble about it, but it's brave.
Oh man. I'm gonna walk away. He's gonna say it's actually really broken, right?
No. It's like I need a new drone now.
We're still good to go. So.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
well, you managed to
great.
land. I mean, like,
yeah.
In FPV, if you land without braking, that's landing.
Well, okay, then that counts.
Congrats on your first flight.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was fun. Awesome.
Cool.
Hi there. Just a little wrap up from yesterday. I did about an hour's worth of shoot out in the field, and even in through some trees. I had my first crash, and just very minor. Didn't even ding a prop, so just had to do a little bit of a walk, pick it up, and away we went. Have a wonderful day, but that's the life of a drone pilot.
Today's final frame, I don't have a whole lot to add. Our guests had so many different ideas and directions where this thing is going in the future. I'm excited, and I'm sure you are as well. I thought it was especially interesting, Cody, talking about the new sport of drone racing, and I do think that will take off. As everybody said, this is still early community. Yes, the commercial drones, all the DJI products and stuff have been around for a while and are getting better and better. But the ones that are for FPV racing and that these guys are custom building that allow some pretty wild stuff, that's still very much the tinkerers, the creators, the guys working in their basement and learning from each other and soldering irons and all these different pieces that are coming together. And it's community, as Cody said, that's going to bring everybody together and keep things going right now. And eventually it will get to a point where there will be more of a mass adoption of drones. So it won't just be a few guys with drone licenses flying these things around, but we're going to have more and more people bringing their drones to competitions, and there'll be a need for more filmmakers, broadcasters, announcers at these competitions to bring the races to the masses, just like any other sport. So I think that's going to happen. I think that we are heading in that direction. Probably be a few years before we see more mass adoption on that, but get in early. Now's the time. If you're curious, go and find a local drone operator and drone groups and go and hang out and get your hands on some of these toys, try them out. And I call them toys, but man, these things are pretty wild. You saw the speeds these things could get up to on the racetracks and flying through some of the shots in here. Speaking of shots in here, as in the end credits you're going to see in a minute, you can see where all these guys are at. You can find them all on YouTube. And so definitely check them all out there and see more of their stuff. And if you're looking for drone operators in Alberta, these guys are fantastic. And as well, I just want to say a big thank you to all of them. They were all very kind to open up their catalogs of footage for me to be able to get all the B-roll. This episode definitely took me a lot more for editing because I was digging up the proper stuff and doing a little bit more background to find things. And so thank you everybody for your patience and for supporting today's episode as well. And a special thank you to James, who we saw his drone got damaged today, and thank you so much for letting us into that moment, because that was a frustrating moment, and I appreciate you allowing us to be able to see the kinds of things that face us as we are in a newer industry. Technology doesn't always work well together, and so sometimes that can be frustrating. And Thank you all for being a part of today's episode. And my name is Jason Steele, and look forward to next time when we move one frame forward into the future of film.